Any questions? No questions?
No.
Okay.
No, though.
As long as we're clear, I'm going to move forward. All right, I spoke about this. We did an activity with Wilkins who was sleeping on the job last week.
Excuse me, Dr. Marsh.
Yes, good day.
I have to leave, sorry.
Okay, and that is who?
Arlette.
Arlette. Okay, we'll speak. You have my number, Arlette, right?
Yes.
Yes, we'll talk. I'll take care. Right. We did a scenario with Mr. Wilkins as well. And we would have drafted a verbal warning for the infraction. Was the activity clear to everybody?
Yes.
Yes, it was.
Excellent. All right. We then moved on to do a scenario with Miss Young. And I suppose that was also clear to individuals. If there are any questions, you can let me know regarding the activity. And we then moved on to warning letters. I have continued here, which means that maybe this is where we would have, right. So we would have discussed the warning letter as far as, we did discuss warning letter, right, colleagues?
Yes, we did.
We did, and we spoke about the different types. We spoke about the first written warning and the final written warning. And I think we also did the scenario as well with Mr. Rowe.
Yes,
right?
we did the scenario.
Mr. Rowe, and would have drafted a final written warning for him. Right? It was a very good activity based on my recollection. Would have then moved on to do this exercise. Do you recall this exercise? When I asked you what's wrong with the letter? Or you want us to start?
No. I don't think I saw this letter.
Oh, okay. All right, colleagues. So this is essentially a written warning to Mr. Brown, right? And it says here in brackets, identify the issues with the letter below. And it reads, Dear Mr. Brown, we refer to failure to follow established work procedures on January 7, 2022. Your actions is a violation of company policy, and this serves as a written warning that will be placed on your file immediately. Your job requires that you arrive at work on time so that the production process will not be delayed. And remember that you are a senior member of staff. We have high expectations of you, so please adhere to established work procedure. If you are unclear of any work procedure, please consult your manager. You have the right to appeal against this decision within X amount of days. All right, colleagues, so looking at this, are there any issues with this document?
Nothing stating what the established work procedure that he failed to follow. There's nothing to say what the established work procedure that he failed to.
Right. So what I've been included is that the very good was that you could just give us enough of what the established work procedure is, or direct him to what it is. Wrong, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's one. Very good.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Anything else, colleagues?
But in the second paragraph, it seemed as if it's referring to his arrival at work.
Mm-hmm.
Your job requires that you arrive at work on time so that production process where the individual could have included the time
that he's expected to arrive at.
Yes. Right.
Yes. Definitely.
Yep.
I agree with you. Anything else?
And could also reference the policy also.
That is critical. Policy. So the policy as well wasn't referenced. The section breached was not referenced, right? So he's given the written warning, but as it is, colleagues, would this document hold up if scrutinized at the Ministry of Labor and Social Security? Or at a hearing? Not even so far, at a hearing, would it hold up? Could it be seen as a valid warning? Persons are silent, man. We have 12 persons logged in. Come on, man. Let's early morning. Samantha, morning.
Morning. I do think it will hold up. I think so. I mean, despite the fact that
Good morning.
it's not.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other? Let me go back. Sorry. Right. So Samantha says she thinks it will hold up.
I don't think it would hold up because it doesn't have a letterhead.
No, man.
Everyone.
Well, with the letterhead, right. So as it is, it wouldn't because there's no letterhead and nobody has signed it. Right. But in terms of the content of the letter, let's not look at the letterhead or the signatures. Well, based on the narrative, the body of it, would it hold up? Samantha says no. Says she thinks it would.
Does it require the staff member to sign acknowledging receipt of it? To say
Yes,
that
it would. So, so we would of course include that. That would be absent from this document here. Well, let me ask you. My concern with this letter is that it mentions a failure to follow established work procedure. That's fine, but the issue I have with it, Samantha, why I think it may not hold up is that they didn't reference the policy. So a written warning was given, but we don't know exactly for what section of the policy, if you know what I mean. Right?
So even the letter references violation of the company policy because it doesn't specify.
It doesn't specify. So we don't know exactly what the violation is.
So if it was, say, for instance, named the policy, not just the company policy, but maybe it named a specific policy, because it doesn't list out the subsection within the policy, you don't think it will hold up?
That may create a problem because exactly what subsection was reached, we don't know. So this written warning, it is there in a kind of, it's like it seems more general than specific, so we can't pinpoint which section, because if you have a policy where several sections may speak to and failure to follow established work procedure or poor performance, we don't know, right? And the only way we could probably try to pinpoint that section or assume is we look on the penalty, because this is a written warning. So we could look at what the penalty, which is assigned to a particular infraction, which is linked to failure to follow established procedure. So it needs to be more specific rather than being general. Do you agree or disagree, colleagues? What do you think about my position?
I do agree with that position.
Right. So even if we mention the policy that was breached, it is not sufficient if we say that he breached the disciplinary policy and procedure. We'd want to know exactly what section was breached, because as I mentioned to you, some policies that I've seen, that I've assisted with or I've seen being drafted, you may have several sections which may speak to a failure to follow certain established procedures, and you may have various severities of penalties. You may have it's minor cases of that, or you may have major cases of that or serious cases of that, and they're treated differently. So it's important always to specify what section exactly was breached in the policy. I see something in the chat. All right. Miss Amatola, you said no, sir. Go ahead. I don't know what the no, sir is for. Not hearing right. All right, colleagues. So, any other comments on this point?
I wanted to ask though, do you have to state that it will be placed on your file? Aren't all written notices placed on file?
As I said, well, from yourself verbally, yes, it should be on your file. But I guess so for transparency, you can mention it in the letter as well. So the individual understands that this document, of course, will be recorded or logged by HR on their file. It is something which is utilized in a way, just a standard which some companies will utilize, but you don't have to mention it. But some persons don't know this enough, so it's going to mention it. There's no issue with that. All right. All right, let me move on. I think she's saying something about it. I see Donna typing something here, and she says, let me try to maneuver this thing a bit better. Right. So Donna says letter must always be on a letter. Yes, the letter must always be on a letterhead. Of course, the company's letterhead is important. Right? Okay, so before we go into the suspension and termination letter, right, I'm going to switch these slides around a bit, colleagues. Hold on. Let me stop sharing a bit. There are some other documents I want to discuss before we go into suspension and termination. I think we have the time to do it, so let me, yes. Okay. Hold on, please. And to move around a slide here, just give me a little problem, I don't know why. Let me do it a different way. For some reason, this slide will not move. Hmm. I can't cut it. All right, let me copy. It's strange. All right, I'm going to share with you a chart, really. But I was trying to sequence the presentation, but I don't know why the document is locked right here. Let me share screen again. Are you seeing my screen now?
Yes.
All right. So, colleagues, we spoke about the different types of warnings, right? And we're moving towards a situation where more stringent, I go down to it, but I don't know why it's not moving, right? More stringent punishment may occur as a result of a particular infraction, okay? So I'm sharing with you the sequence as to how it should occur if you intend to penalize for a serious or very serious offense, right? And we're talking about suspensions or termination, right? Now you'll realize that the investigation letter would have been prepared, right? And this letter essentially is going to be utilized to give the accused individual some idea as to what is happening pertaining to an alleged breach, and that they will be invited to an investigation meeting. All right. So I'm going to, let me see if I have a scenario here for it. That's a dismissal letter. Okay. So let me use a scenario that we already have, because I want us to create an investigation letter. All right, let me modify this quickly and we can utilize it. Are you seeing my screen still?
Yes.
Okay, good. What exactly is happening with this computer? No, I can't even type. Colleagues, I'm gonna sign out and then join again, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, something is happening with it. I'm not sure.